Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening. Gives us more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth. So we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Brethren, I was just taking a look at a couple old movies and taking a look at I Am Legend. And there are a lot of similarities of what's going on in this movie and what you're seeing playing out today. Now, let's not get it backwards, because see, what happens is people will be like, oh, look, they put it in a movie. The elites, they knew all this stuff was going to happen. They knew all this, so they put it in there. It wasn't the elites that put that in there. It was the Most High. The Most High is showing them how they're going to be taken out. Most High is putting it right in their face. See, we used to, like our kings, our people would have these visions, and then they would get the one of their priests or druids to come in and break it down for them, just like our men in the Bible, Joseph, Daniel, would break down the dreams of the kings. Also, it happened with Moctezuma here in the Americas. He knew of the omens of his demise. So just like we were shown how we were going to be taken out, the other nations put it in their movies, put it out for all to see. And we're actually going to talk about that a little bit later on. We've been shown, like I said, how we were going to be taken down multiple times, because the Most High doesn't want it to be a surprise. He's letting you know that he's in charge, and that when you fall down and you go down, he's the one that's done it. The Most High is the one that has punched your card and taken you down. He doesn't want there to be, any mistakes as to who was the one that took you down. Okay? But before we get into that video, it's going to be another video we're going to be pulling out pretty soon. Most High just started putting it together in my head just right now. At the beginning of the movie, they talk about this doctor who came up with this cure for cancer. And they talk about how they went in and re-engineered a virus. Just like they talk about how they came in and re-engineered like our DNA. They went ahead and they re-engineered this virus. I want to say it was the measles, and they said that it was going it's like a car going down a freeway super fast with like a madman behind the wheel. They said they kind of went in and changed it up so it's like a police officer behind the wheel of the car now. But the fact that they're talking about re-engineering things and reprogramming viruses, just like they talk about how they reprogram things right now in order reprogramming the DNA in order to fight the virus. And what's happening right now is this, you just listen to the news and listen to these people. It's all about how a year, they talk about it's only been a year after, the plague has shown up. And it's a miracle that we have three great vaccines to take down the virus. They talk about how that's a miracle. And that's how they've been, pushing it out there right now. And now, these people are talking about how fast they're getting the vaccines out. And one day they just got like 2 million out. And I think yesterday they had 3 million vaccines out. People they're now talking like the plague is in the rearview mirror. They're talking about how it's pretty much done, and people are making plans for spring break next month, making plans for um, summer vacation. But see, these people can't get out of their own way. Any decent news they get, you see how they are. I guess this weekend they had some big biker rally in town. It's in Florida. Florida and Colorado, there's a whole bunch of kids partying it up. All-star weekend, people out in the clubs. And God knows what else they're doing all over the country. And they put the information about the variants in the very end, and it's kind of like just touch on it like, yeah, we were trying to beat the variants. If the variants are already here and they're already spreading, how can you get ahead of the variants? You would have to have done that without them replicating so much and already be here. Just doesn't make any sense. They speak out of both sides of their mouths. But like I said, what the one doctor said today is that you're in a hurricane. You've been in a hurricane for a year, and right now you're in the eye of the storm. And right now everyone's rushing to get their beach chairs out in the eye of the storm because they think the storm is done. And they're all tripping over themselves to set up their beach chairs and get those sunglasses out and just be able to kick it for, a few minutes and make it seem as if everything is already back to normal. People out at swap meets, packed. They're in restaurants, packed. They're at church, packed. But they don't look at it as them being in the eye of the storm. They look at it as the storm has already passed and they've defeated the storm and life is now going back to normal, which it's not. This is just the beginning. The Most High is the one that would have to take the storm away. And he already said that he's not going to do that. So as you get they're reprogrammed this virus in the movie. They did the same thing with the vaccines right now in order to be able to supposedly defeat the virus. And then it goes to a clip where it's 3 years later and New York is a desolate wasteland. You think all these are coincidences, how they're reprogramming viruses. And then 3 years later, it's a wasteland. We know that we're now less than 2 weeks from our new year. They're pushing these viruses and these vaccines out like crazy, trying to vaccinate as many people as possible to get in front of the variants. But then a guy right now, one of the doctors, was saying that 4 weeks ago, they had when they were actually checking to see, checked on the variants. He said that the variants only made up 3 to 4% of the cases. This was 4 weeks ago. That the one from the UK, the UK variant, only made up 3 to 4%. He said now 4 weeks later, it makes up 30 to 40%. If he's saying, and then he said that once it gets past 50% is a tipping point, and that's when everything starts to jump up. So the timing of this everything ready to jump up is upon us. We're less than 2 weeks before the new year. They've had their 6 to 8 weeks or whatever it's been. It really hasn't been that long for them to paint such a rosy picture and how they're going to be able to, get everything done by the summer. Now they're talking about how they're going to be able to have everybody, pretty much the vast majority of the people vaccinated, maybe reaching herd immunity by the summer. See how rosy everything gets when you get about 6 weeks, 7 weeks, where the Most High just lets you get some good news to to your people, and now you're just making it seem as if everything is done, and people want to believe it so much that they'll ignore the fact that the variants are already almost at that 50% mark. And once that happens, you're going to start to see huge jumps. I want to say that Europe had about 6 to 8 weeks where everything went down. And then just, I want to say last week, from 1 week to the next, it was a 9% jump in total cases in 1 week. Now, when that happens here, people are going to start to lose their minds. When you're going from 1 week to the next, you're chopping about 10, 9, 15%, who knows? We start getting these kinds of huge jumps. And when these people realize that the virus isn't done, it isn't defeated, and that all these people who are getting all these vaccines, it's not going to help them because it's a totally different variant. So we'll see how all this plays out. But from these are what the doctors are saying, that these variants have already grown from 3 to 4% to 30 to 40% in just 4 weeks. Like I said, that's not my take. That's what the doctors say. So I'm just repeating what they're saying. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm just bringing the news from what I hear to the people. Now, because some more things going on in this movie. 3 years later, New York is a desolate wasteland. The virus, the people who are infected with this virus, the virus is called the KV virus. And then in this movie, it talks about how it says there's ongoing mutations of Dr. Alice Crippen's once hailed miracle cure for cancer. There was all these mutations that were going, that was changing, the doctor's once hailed miracle cure for cancer. Now all of a sudden, now think about it. They say there's a miracle cure for cancer in the movie. Today they're saying there's a what? A miracle cure for the plague. And it's just a miracle how we got this so fast. You see, a lot of things are just playing out, repeating themselves. They said it was a miracle cure in the movie. Today they're saying it's a miracle cure for the virus, and how they just can't believe they did it. And they got 3 of these vaccines in a year. So I got to pick up what these people are saying, And there's mutations. So now look at what's going on here. We got a bunch of mutations of this miracle vaccine that's supposed to save the world and put everything back to normal. So that whole thing was a whole miracle, and that's their miracle. Their miracle isn't praying to their Jesus and expecting a miracle. Their miracle was trusting the science and the science getting them out of this mess. But we know that's not going to happen. And towards the end, Anna shows up at his house here, and she says, after all this stuff has happened with these vaccines and the plague, it says, and a lot of people had died, and there's very few people left. She said, the world is quieter now. If we just listen, we can hear God's plan. And that's what's happened this last year. The world has been quieter. Schools were closed. Restaurants were closed. Malls were closed. People were forced to stay home. Things were a little quieter. It was everyone's time to be able to hear the Most High's plan. The Most High's plan of raising his people up, bringing the other nations to their rightful place as the tail, having their opportunity to hear the Most High, having their opportunity to cleave to the Most High's chosen people. They had a whole year of having things quieter in order to hear the plans of the Most High. The vast majority of the world doesn't want to hear the Most High's plan. So now comes the judgment. They don't want to hear about the judgment. They just want to fight to go back to their normal. Their normal will never come. The eye of the storm is about to pass these people by, and then they're going to reap the whirlwind. Things are going to get much worse very quickly. Like we said, less than 2 weeks. Now that doctor was saying 4 weeks ago, the variants made up, the UK variant made up 3 to 4% of the cases, of the new cases. Now it's up to 30 to 40%. And like he said, once it gets over 50%, that's when these jumps are going to occur. I'm sure that we're very close, if not over that 40% already. Because by the time, how long ago did he see those numbers? He brought that out this morning. It won't be very long before it does go over 50%. And it won't be very long before the world starts to see the numbers jump the other direction. They have had 6 to 8 weeks of great news. They've had 6 to 8 weeks to pat themselves on the back and say that these changes or these good numbers have been because of their vaccines and their mitigation plans, and take all the credit for themselves and not actually look at the fact that this was the Most High who's given you a whole year to get right. He's given you a whole year to hear the truth. Like when our kings in the past heard about the omens, it wasn't like they got destruction the next day. Moctezuma knew about the coming of the white man, the coming of the Europeans for a long time. There were many omens. There was much time for them to get right, or at least be able to accept what was about to happen. So it would make sense that the Most High would do the same thing for the Gentiles, would it not? He's given them a whole year. Omens, protests, deaths in front of their faces of our people standing up, our people telling them the truth. The Most High slowly destroying their economy, their religions, their history. He's given them time to, reassess themselves. Have they done it? The vast majority, absolutely not. But the few in number, the ones in the numbers the Most High has set aside, they've gotten the truth, and they've been able to make those changes. And all praises to the Most High for that opportunity, and for all our brethren who've gotten this truth, as well as all the Gentiles who are following the Most High, and all the ones that are cleaving to the Most High's chosen people. Now at the end, when you look at this, the mutants, after they had gone and had all those changes, what happened to them? They couldn't go out into the light. The light killed them. The light destroyed them. Now see, these things have already happened to them in the spiritual sense. The truth, the light that the Most High has been bringing, it destroys them spiritually. They can't understand it. They get that glossy look in their eyes. They are, the light destroys them. It's like they're kryptonite. It's been doing it to them spiritually. But now the light of the Most High is going to destroy them physically. So like I said, so a lot of similarities and a lot of things in this movie. I'm sure you guys have seen it. I Am Legend, and I'm sure you guys have more to add in the comment section as well. Which is absolutely amazing. And like I said, we got omens. We got an opportunity to hear the truth. We got an opportunity to know about the destruction that was coming for us not keeping the Most High's law, statutes, commandments. It makes sense that the Most High will do the same to the Gentiles. He gave them their year. He gave them their time. They even got the eye of the storm right here at the end. They got a little eye of the storm right before our new year. They got an opportunity to show what's really in their heart. And what's really in their heart is putting the Most High's people back at the bottom in order for them to live their normal lives and ignore our plight and our destruction. And that's a no-go for the Most High. So enjoy your little time in the sun in the middle of this huge hurricane. Because now, like I said, that little time in the eye, all you guys all fighting to get those chairs outside to enjoy that little bit of sun is quickly coming to an end. All praise is the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledge it, Yahweh Shai. Shalom.